What comes to mind when you hear the word glacier? Well, for me, it's something that's really, really slow. It takes thousands of years to move. It's cold, it's isolated. And I think that's what Amazon was going for when they named their archiving service Glacier. So it's really cheap, it's slow to respond, and it should be seldom accessed. Some people call this cold storage or offline storage or far line storage. It's used by AWS's Storage Gateway virtual tape library as a backend to store your backups if you're backing up to virtual tape libraries. It's also integrated with S3 via the lifecycle management feature. And recently, AWS has introduced some options that allow faster retrieval speeds if you pay more. Now, in the context of the exam, don't let that get you tripped up because Glacier is meant to be a long-term archive solution. And those fast retrieval speeds, if you compare them to S3, for example, they're not really that fast. They're maybe a few minutes. So you're not going to be able to provide online content through Glacier using these fast retrieval speeds. Definitely think about Glacier as an archive solution where you put data and you almost want to forget about it and let it live out its days until it's time to delete it, if and when that ever comes. Now, most people know Glacier from the S3 console, but in fact, Glacier is a service by itself with its own concepts and its own API, and you don't have to use S3 to use Glacier. And the core components here are this thing called a Glacier Vault, and it's kind of analogous to an S3 bucket. Then you have archives, which are kind of analogous to an S3 object. And then you have policies. And there's two areas here that you really need to be aware of. One is the policy and one is the access. And those are two separate things. The policy defines what rules that vault must obey by. So maybe it enforces a rule that says nobody can delete any objects on the Glacier Vault to be sure that nobody tampers with anything. Or maybe it says that before anybody deletes something, they have to use multi-factor authentication just to reduce the likelihood of an accidental deletion. Now, providing access is done through IAM. That's giving roles to individual people to go in and administer the vault or do things to the Glacier Vault lock. Now, the Glacier Vault lock is immutable, and that means it can't change. It can be overwritten, it can be deleted, but it can't be changed. And the same goes for the archives. And these archives can be a file, it can be a zip file, a tar file. And the maximum size is 40 terabytes, which is pretty big, obviously. And again, these are immutable. So once you upload something into the archive, or once you upload something into the vault, you can't change it. You can delete it, you can overwrite it with a new version, but you can't change what's already there. And that's a really important part of a reliable archiving solution so that you have confidence that when something gets uploaded into that vault, it's going to be exactly the same until you decide to delete it or overwrite it. Now, just a small note on vault locks and the whole vault lock process. The process goes like this. You can create a Glacier vault lock and then you initiate a vault lock. And by default, you have 24 hours with which to confirm that that vault lock is performing. If the 24 hours elapses and you don't confirm it, then it just aborts, it just dissolves, it goes away. So in that 24-hour period of time, you can abort it, or you can complete the vault lock, which then applies the vault lock permanently to that Glacier vault. So you're going to be stuck with that vault lock forever, basically, which is by design because Amazon doesn't want to allow anybody the ability to change archives that have been locked and secured with a vault lock.